Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. It's good to see everyone. Let me just bring up my screen. Hello Crypto Bum, Tom. I will look at Aave. I'm gonna do Bitcoin. I'm gonna do Bitcoin, then I'll do gold. Then I will do the Ethereum, as we usually do, and then I will look at Aave. No problem. Alright, so hopefully you all can hear me. Looks like you can. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so what we were talking about yesterday is things are gonna get. We expect things to get real nasty. This swing fed pattern was invalidated with this swing. I'm sorry. Come back to the daily time room. We had the swing fed pattern that we're playing out with targets on 21. Got invalidated by this wick, which brought about a new swing fed pattern on smaller term time frames, which gave us a target of the 618. Got rejection of that. And then the next target would be that high, and if you break out of that high, then obviously that swing failure pattern was actually bullish, but I don't expect that. I do expect we are going to break down. Now, we will look at the SPX as well, just to see what today can bring. It is going to turn to the weekend, so weekends are always a bit of a gamble, right? I would not be surprised if we break out of this range like that. That bullish break, that bullish swing for pattern plays out, and then we get a breakdown coming into the next week. I also wouldn't be surprised if we have a major breakdown. So I'm honestly just don't have much of a bias. I'm going off of the charts, and the charts alone, I would pretty much expect a major breakdown. But if we are going into the weekend, so a move up wouldn't be after a huge dump, like a huge red week, wouldn't be too unexpected. Take a look at Bitcoin itself. We could just take a look at this really mini range, see if we actually do have a bias. Using the volume profile. Oh, get out of that. Okay, cool. Now, okay, wonderful. We do see that the point control is somewhat heavily skewed to the value area low, meaning that we are most likely going to break out of the value area high before we eventually break down. We see right here that we have already filled this low volume node. Coming into that wick, that's where we got that bounce out of the low volume node. We can even be more specific with that right there. So that's your low volume node. Broke out of that. There's also a low volume node to the upside as well that if we were to break out might get filled as well. Obviously the two straight wicks to the upside and downside are also low volume nodes, or you could take them as filling the wick, whichever you want to say. But I don't expect those wicks to hold if you get back above, if that makes sense. You might get a quick rejection off, but I think either way you're going to break out fairly explosively out of this range. So if you're going to break out of this value area high, just expect a rejection off this low volume node, and we continue ranging. So I think the most likely answer, to be completely honest, should we get back above this point of control, and we'll take a look at SPX once again, just to see how the close will be, because the close can be disastrous and lead into a terrible weekend. But if we get back above this point of control before the New York session or before the CME closes, then I think that there's a very good chance that you come up and at the very least break out of this value area high during the weekend. But we'll take a look at let's take a look at SPX, and then I'll go over gold just to see. Getting real nasty. All right, we were saying the other day, once we had this closure, once we had the closure, and during yesterday's session, things were getting real nasty. Unless you wick the back somehow above this 786, things are gonna get really disgusting, and things got really disgusting. We're coming up to these weekly lows, and we can even go to the weekly time frame. We're coming up to these weekly lows with targets. If we break below, get very quick and very nasty all the way to this downside, essentially this 3,000. I think you're just going to capitulate to down there. You could have small bounces on the way, right? You have green days, but pretty much just catastrophe. We've been talking about this, and I'll harp on this every single stream just in case someone new is strong in. The macro chart, right? We're expecting our bottom to be the week of November 7th. The longer we wait, the steeper this line gets. So I do expect that we have this breakout relatively soon, because it is now 40. Oh, let me just actually do it from here. It is now 45 days away, and that would require a 42% drop. So nearly negative 1% a day, which is quite significant of a move per day. So just gonna keep on harping on that. Let's go over gold, and then we can go over to what we expect for Ethereum. Maybe Ethereum has something a bit more interesting than Bitcoin coming into the weekend. I know I was actually getting alerts for Bitcoin. Oh no. Gold is looking very weak. Very, very weak. I was honestly expecting yeah, you don't want to see breakdowns like these. You don't want to see macro breakdowns with gold and SPX. Bitcoin is obviously is a newer asset, so we can't talk about too much. Let me just check oil. Oh, I have to type in US, right? US. Get rid of log. Daily. And oil too. Yeah, you don't want to see this. You definitely don't want to see all assets crumbling at once. Usually, let's actually take a look at the DXY. I'm sorry, I'll get back to gold, and then we'll talk about like technical targets. So I just want to see. Okay, yeah, the TXY is taking off. That makes a lot more sense. So DXY taking off. You might get a rejection off the 618. I doubt it. We're coming up to these macro. I think this might even be. I have to go back to like the month time frames. You know, this huge fair value gap that we've been waiting to hold. We got a slight rejection out of this fair value gap plus the 786 Fibonacci level. But this is the major fair value gap that we would expect before any major correction. I think after this fair value gap, you might get a major correction, right? And then that's when everything dumps together. So I'm actually not too concerned over the fact that everything's dumping together. The fact that the DXY is at the very least pumping. But once we get this turn and everything else is also crumbling, then we should get like, that's when you put on your doomsday hats, but that's also when you start buying. So it's like it's like the just position. Yeah, strong DXY. Yeah. So gold, we could take this just as the major move up coming out of the pandemic dump. And then it's new high right here. You can see that we're most likely pulling back into the 705 in option retracement. I would expect a slight pullback off of that, but really just continuing this really real nasty downtrend unless you're building anything, and you're not. 4 hour. You might build a slight bullish divergence, and then just essentially just wait for a retest of this top candle right here at 1657, and then continuation to the downside will most likely occur until the DXY starts to cool off, fill that fair value gap and start to cool off. I do think the most likely answer will be this pullback right into here, the 76 Fibonacci retracement, but just be aware that you are most likely going to fill this right here. So I would put emphasis that like you're gonna most likely wick down and goes above this right here between 1885, this 786, and 1585 and 1556. I would expect a wick down to before any major pullback, and then we can see if we have some sort of situation like 2008. I won't say it's going to be exactly like 2008, but you have a breakdown and then continue running. I'm just pulling a fractal just to like show basic market structure, not that we're following exactly or anything like that, but you set your highs, just have a natural downtrend, just pull it so that matches a bit more, just to get it more visually here too. Set a new high, set a lower high, then just chop all the way down, actually fills this imbalance, but I don't put too much weight in this fractal, and then flip market structure fairly quickly. So if we're going with time wise, that happens to be November 7th if you line up the fractal. So definitely I think we're going to come back to test this 786, fill this imbalance, and then if market cycles mean anything, then you should continue upward and onwards for a very long amount of time. SPX, I want to just see the correlation. Actually, we could just put the correlation here. With Bitcoin. We can use the, I want to use index. There. Oh boy. Yeah. So, at least the correlation is cooling off just a little bit. I would expect at this point the correlation along major pivot points will still remain positive, and then you'll just repeat where you have a quick drop off in correlation, and gold will take off. Bitcoin most likely stall for a little bit. So yeah, cool to see its macro trends playing out. Okay, we'll go over AVE. Okay. So we're looking for this come down below this market structure break line, then come and fill this bearish order block. Still, if you get to get that fill of the bearish order block, right, we could just take a look at our daily chart. See, we are bouncing off the value area low. At least the previous value low. Actually, that changed dramatically. In instances like these, I would just consider this to be bounce off the value area low, and then especially when something looks like this with relatively low liquidity, this is bouncing off the value area low, but when you pull all the way to the new, you obviously got a bit skewed within this, and you also filled this gap right here, but this is bouncing off the previous value area low. Just the range is still developing, just because it's low liquidity. 4 hour time frame, unless there is divergences forming. Bang, bang. You do have, is that even bullish divergence? You do have, that just comes down to like a hair. You have like notable divergence, even though this close might be a slight higher. You have notable divergence forming, that formed on the 4 hour time frame. You can actually see here that you can argue that this right here was a market structure break, coming off of these highs, break above these highs, pull back into less significant move down. Just really retest the lows. But I would treat this more or less as a really mini macro range, a mini range, rather than that. That's what I prefer to do. And you can just trade this little range right here. There is no heavy skew for the point control either way. The volume profile itself is not very skewed, so there is no bias there. I guess the only bias you can play off is this bullish divergence, which would give you a target of 6.8 from the swing high to the swing low of about 86.75. So that would be your first target, which is actually in the middle of this daily fair value gap right here as well. So I would look for that, assuming Bitcoin doesn't absolutely throw up coming into this close / weekend. Then I definitely think you can come up and fill this fair value gap. This bearish order block is still yet to be hit. You just keep that in mind. We did expect it to come down, break a little bit, and then continue up to the upside to come back and fill this 4-hour fair value gap. Bearish order block. So if Bitcoin holds, at least ranges for a little bit, maybe even breaks out of that, these are definitely two targets that will provide, that should get hit fairly easily. Now, if Bitcoin throws up, like absolutely has a terrible weekend, coming down to this new Val area low between 65.25 would be your first target. If we have an absolutely catastrophic weekend, we have to go to a new, older chart, and I guess you were looking at pretty much your all-time lows on the Binance chart at 27.7. Do I think that will happen this weekend? Absolutely not. But I guess, with the way things looking and look at things how sensitive are, you kind of do have to just keep those things in the back of your mind. If things do really go south, then these coins will not hold well. We could take a look at a theory. Aave Bitcoin. Yeah, I was gonna say Binance Investment chart. Yeah, cool. Aave Bitcoin. Oh, Aave Bitcoin has been here for a while, which is interesting. I would not expect that. I take a zone right here. Let's just see if there is anything notable. This doesn't look the best on the daily chart. Really small term time frames. Just trying to see if there is a bit of a bias or any sort of major. Yeah, this doesn't this doesn't look the best. To be honest, I do think you're probably are going to break down in this range. Let me just get a volume profile just to see where the most interest is for this. Yeah, you already broke. So you have your point of control skewed to the downside, but you've already broken out of your value area high. You do have this low volume node up here. If there were for whatever reason that be a rally, right here, but don't expect it anytime soon. Just looks like you already played out this killing of these shorts down here, all this volume coming in down here, and think you are just going to break down. If you do break below this low, you're essentially looking at this new E37, which, let's just say that's the low. That 736 seems to be a reasonable target for, the macro low. This weekly support and resistance, which also played as resistance over here. And then you would you can just multiply that by whatever you think Bitcoin's bottom would be, and they're your targets. You probably won't be too happy with that. Coming over to this, yeah, you've already broken the 786. So not looking too good, honestly, macro-wise. Things got nasty once you broke market structure by breaking this level right here. Since then, it's just been lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Cool. Any other coins you guys want me to look at? All right. Well, if that is all you guys want me to look at, I think I will then end it here. Once again, if anything like crazy major happens or something changes, right? If we do break out of that $19,000 high, roughly $19,000, then I will make update videos giving you more exact upside targets. If we do break out of that low, I'll most likely just start like more like a fun stream to watch the major dump. But for now, I will bid you all farewell. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Reminder, join Discord's links in the description below. A lot of good trades in there you can learn from. It's completely free. Also, if you trade on Bybit and stuff, 30% off your fees, link in the description below. Maker and Taker fees 30% off. So just sign up for an account through that link. You'll get Lunacy. I'm sorry. We'll real quick go over Lunacy. There is a delay, but I will go over Lunacy. No problem. US. I think this is just the best chart, and this is one we've been looking at. Okay. This more or less, you could take this as a swing fed pattern. I would be just careful with that. Fair value gap once again is what we've been expecting. 81.78 and 16.94. 4-hour time frame. You can treat this as a swing fed pattern if you'd like. Do we also have? You didn't build bullish divergence, so I would just expect a pullback to this 618, if anything at all, before continuation to the downside, which actually lines up with the point of control. Very nice to see. So 29.043, then a continuation to the downside to fill that fair value gap. It's basically what I'm expecting there. Long term. You want long-term analysis? I mean, I guess this is really, I don't expect Lunacy to do very well. I don't know. I mean, you've already went from like $100-something, whatever Luna, and this is Luna, to now this. So I don't expect this to do very well. Fill this fair value gap, along with this weekly smart resistance if you break out of that or just wick down. Take a daily closure on this fair value gap so you can get a wick down to this easily. And then just lower highs, and then eventually just tie out to nothing, I would think. Alright, thank you all very much. I will then leave it there again. Links description below for our Discord, and links in the description below for decreased Pappy fees. So thank you all very much. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and take care, guys. See you Monday. Bye.